Gary Criswell and state championship head coach Loren Johnson. In fact, we're sitting here where the post-game press conference just took place. Allen getting a shot of the championship trophy. Loren, Highland Springs state champs. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
It does sound good, and it hadn't sunk in yet, but I'm excited about the opportunity. And I got one person that didn't make it to the game that I got a call. It's my dad. He's still in South Florida, and I know he would be so ever proud to hear those words together. So it's great to hear.
Saw the timeout with about a minute to go. Saw you dancing.
Yep.
Saw the sprint down to the 20-yard line. And you told us in the pregame how you've imagined this moment, back years and years and years. The moment lives up to the hype, doesn't it?
Yeah, the moment lives up to the hype. And the people that I'm celebrating it with, the coaches and their families, are phenomenal and the best. And I'm thankful to do it with this group of people. Anybody else, it would not have been as glorifying.
Now, Chris is chomping at the bit. He's got a bunch of stuff.
We'll talk football. I mean, he's talking on
We'll get to the football in a minute.
Yes, sir.
But I got to ask you, we spent some time together in the preseason. I was in the coach's office, and it really struck me about the work you're doing in this community that has nothing to do with this football.
Absolutely.
Right here. Just talk about what that work means to you, and then to hear a kid like Kayvon Wallace talk about not having a father figure in his life and what it means to him that you are in filling that role and the difference you're making. I mean, we're winning state championships in football, and football's important.
Yes, sir.
But you have a greater calling here.
Yeah, it's definitely a greater calling. And I only want to hire people around me that have that same calling or that same idea about what we're doing. So I'm not the only one on the staff doing it, but it's a way of life for us. It's what we're going to do as a staff. We are going to make sure we are father figures, whether they have fathers or not, because we spend more time with them than their father probably spends with them or even their mother spends with them. So with that being said, I was told long ago by an old ball coach, and he probably don't remember this, but Bobby Bowden told me one time, and just in passing, I asked him, what one thing can I take as a young coach? He said, the one thing I can tell you is if you don't have leaders, your coaches have to be leaders. And our coaches are leaders in our community, they're leaders in our school, and they're leaders in our football program. So our kids are special. We want to treat them that way, and we want to enjoy life with them. We don't want to be dictators. We want to be democratic, communistic leaders, right? So I say that we want to make them think they have options, but we're going to tell them the way they should be men and how they should act as men, and then teach them how to do it.
Talk about the mission this team's been on since the morning of August 29th.
Well, August 29th was a Saturday morning. We got over to the school. We worked out. We knew during that game that it was going to be a tough game on the 28th, and we gave away some opportunities. We gave away some chances to be great and to be successful at the game. So when we got there on the 29th, we had to take a deep breath. We literally say it, and we figuratively say it, but that morning we literally did it. We're going to take a deep breath. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, let it out. August 28th is gone. Now, August 29th, how can we progress forward? We had a couple guys get up and speak. We had some coaches talk about what they saw and what we needed to do. And then I finished up with reiterating everything that those guys said already, just in my own format, way, and fashion. So it was one of those deals where we just had to settle down and then be the team that we thought we were going to be.
I look at the schedule you played, and we've talked many times about the gauntlet of the Capital District.
Yes, sir.
2 games against Hermitage, the playoff game with Lee Davis, playing them twice, the Capital District schedule. You talked about 5A South in the press conference, but the schedule you played in the Richmond area,
yes, sir,
that made you ready for anything the East or the North could throw at you.
I definitely feel that way. So you got Coach Turnage at Lee Davis, you got Coach Kane at Hermitage, you got.
Be careful.
I know I'm gonna miss somebody. I know you got Coach Glasgow at Henrico. The list goes on and on and on, right? Coach Cotton at Northview. We know we're gonna play great teams. All those guys are on the schedule again, and we got to just come to play. And if you don't accept that challenge as a football program, if you don't accept that challenge as a coach, as a young man, then you're gonna be disappointed in yourself, because We feel like we have enough talent to get the job done. We feel like we have great coaches that understand our kids and spend time trying to learn our kid, so we can be successful. We would have been upset if we did not finish this job today. And I can open up my phone and, the coaches have a group message that we're a part of, and Group Me, and the label, the picture that's on that Coach Perry put on there, our running backs coach, is finish. And that's what we wanted to do. We started that at the beginning of last year, and now we're doing the same thing now to get that done. And thank God we did it today.
He's got a ton of football questions, so I'm going to ask one to start it out, then I'll let him take over. Just talk about overall, your team you knew that it was going to take a while for them actually seeing that offense to adjust. You keep them off the scoreboard until middle of the second quarter, but then I thought your team dominated the second half.
Yeah, they did an excellent job. And the team that dominated, it started with our defense. It started with our defensive front, started with the linebackers, and then disciplined secondary guys on the back end. On Monday, I said it in the pregame, interview. On Monday, and Coach Simmons can attest to it back there, they were pulling their hair out. They wanted to cuss us from A to Z because of what they saw and what they saw on the scout cards. The scout guys were like, "What is this?" The defensive guys were like, "Wait a minute, I don't understand." And one calming voice, Chris Hill, defensive back that played at Virginia Tech, Chris Hill said, "Coach, by Thursday they'll have it. Don't worry about it." And by Wednesday night, because we weren't even any good at practice on Thursday, they were so excited. By Wednesday night, they had it down, and they understood the task at hand, and they trusted each other, and trusted Coach Simmons. They trusted the defensive staff, and they got it done.
One of the great things about this championship for us as broadcasters is we remember when you weren't quite Loren Johnson.
Yes, sir.
You were growing into Loren Johnson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And one of the things that I was struck with today is, and your staff, tremendous attention to detail, the substitution patterns, the obvious thought to I need to rest guys. DJ was hot and he sat.
Yeah.
And Young played.
Yeah.
In the second quarter when the game was very much in doubt.
Right.
Talk about that whole plan, and did the heat even add in something to it?
Hey, we got guys that are 320, 330 walking around. We started hydrating on Monday. When we looked at the weather and it said 70 degrees, we said, wow, okay, it's going to be warm. Then as the week went on and progressed, it was 72 and 73, and then I think at kickoff it was 74 degrees. We knew that being 300 pounds and having to play in that type of weather, we better substitute often. Substitute for Greg Dortch with Brian Epps, with BJ Epps. Substitute Dana Anderson so he can finish the game at the end. Substitute, Tavian Blackwell with Frazier Tiller. We knew those big guys, if we did not get them proper rest and pay attention to that early, we were going to be struggling against a team with a 318-pound guard, tight ends at a 240, 250. They would just lean on us and mash us down the stretch. So we wanted to keep our kids in a situation where they could be fresh, they can play with energy and enthusiasm, and they could be successful at all times.
And you notice I folded this paper. The questions are now in half. Half the question. Earl Anderson. I think epitomized some of the things you have to do in a state championship, especially when you're seeing a different team. I mean, it took me to the first quarter to get used to him not being in the middle of the secondary and playing on that edge. Talk about that.
That was Coach Simmons' call, and I didn't even realize it until we got to practice, and I was the scout team quarterback, what those guys were going to do in the secondary. But when I saw those guys up, and then I saw Earl Anderson taking the pride in what he needed to do, and we moved our safeties to corners, basically, and our corners back to safety to take away the deep threat. I mean, it was a great game plan. That guy back there, man, does a great job.
Let me insert one question here. Earl missed a tackle, a tackle he should have made.
Right.
I got all over.
Right, and so, but then from that point on, Kayvon dropped a pass he should have caught early in the game, but from that point on.
Yes, sir.
Greg misplayed that punt, but from that point on, these guys, you make a mistake, but from that point on, you saw an intent that they were going to pick up the load to make sure this got finished.
Yeah, you're talking about three seniors, right? You're talking about three seniors that have a lot on the line, 3 seniors that care about the program, 3 seniors that spend a lot of time with their coaches, right? So we talk, we laugh, we joke. They say some things they shouldn't say. Coach Simmons kicks them in the butt. They say some things that they should say, and then we pat them on the back. So we spend a lot of time just building relationships with them. So the one thing we know with our players is this: when you make a mistake, don't beat them up, because they're their worst critics. They're hard on themselves than we could ever be on ourselves, on them. So with that being said, you just say, hey, man, you made a mistake. It's all right. Deshaun Sutton, one time Greg missed the punt. The next time he got the punt, picked it up, made a lot of people miss, and then Deshaun Sutton blocked in the back. But don't jump them.
Right.
Teach them. And that's, we're teachers. We're teachers. Yeah, we coach, but we're teachers first. Teaching pays our salaries. So we just take that teaching philosophy and say, okay, let's work with it. You messed up on this geometry problem. Let's go back to the board. Let me show you what you did wrong. Let's fix it, and let's move forward. And let's be great in that aspect, and that's what we do.
By the way, my wife wants to know what subject do you teach?
I teach, right now I'm back in physical education, but I was in marketing for a long time, marketing education.
Oh, that's right.
I was in marketing, yeah.
That.
And then, Coach Simmons is in math. We got coaches in science, social studies. We just got a great group of guys that understand how you work with young people.
All right, back to a little bit of X's O's, and then we'll let you go here. They were overplaying your trips and twins.
Yep.
And I'll couple it together because I predicted that you were going to turn Pooty loose running the football.
Yes.
Well, I've lost my edge, but I know when you're playing 8 on 7,
Yes, sir.
and they're relying on you not carrying the ball with number 8.
Right.
In this case, it was number 8.
It was.
It made a lot of difference, didn't it?
I think in the third quarter he had a scramble down there to get us, I think, 21 points. I think it was the 21st quarter, 21st point. No, it was actually the 26th point.
It was the last touchdown.
His last touchdown. He kind of moved around a little bit and worked his feet. And we had talked about doing it earlier, but I'll tell you about his resolve this morning. So coaches room with kids. We put 2 kids in the room, and then we put a coach with them. So, of course, I stayed with my junior quarterback, my freshman quarterback, and myself. And I took the floor. I let them have the bed. And he woke up this morning throwing up, vomiting. And it wasn't from nerves. I'm not sure what happened. We went out and ate last night. Maybe he ate too much. No, it wasn't Chipotle. No, it wasn't that. But he ate, and he was throwing up. And I told myself, I'm not going to tell anybody. I told my young quarterback, you better not tell anybody. We'll just kind of focus on him being great. And he was, and him moving his feet. They took 3 guys and put them over 2 on one side, and then when we went, empty and put 3 guys on one side, they put 4 on that guy.
Right.
And there's no way you can do that numbers-wise. It's 11 people. You can't cover all those people.
I didn't have to take my shoes off to talk.
No, that's not bad. That's not bad for us. That's great for us, and it makes it bad for them. And that kid, who is a pretty good quarterback as a junior and only 15, 16 years old, just turned 16. He is going to be a phenomenal individual as a person. He's going to be a phenomenal player moving forward. He's going to be a phenomenal coach one day because he said that's what he wants to do.
We talked about your defense. You had heroes on all 3 levels on defense today. Your offensive line got the job done. DJ set the tone early. But this just in, 4 and 5 are pretty good.
Well, hopefully with the new coaches in the state of Virginia, 4 or 5 garnish some attention from those coaching staffs, and they can stay home. Well, Kayvon is already, verbally committed to Cincinnati, and he's, kind of moving in that direction. That's how he feels. Maybe those guys throw something out there, and those coaches talk to these guys, and those guys make a decision to stay home. But if they don't. They're going to 2 great schools. If they stay home, I'm happy. If they go, I'm happy. They're going to college and they're continuing their education, and that's what I want them to do.
Last question. Springer Nation represented big today. Huge fan base for you today.
Coach Austin grabbed me probably with about 2 minutes left and said, no, it's about 6 minutes left before we fumbled the snap. We went on quick sound. Pooty forgot his quick sound. The other kids forgot a quick sound. Hit him in the chest and dropped. As we were walking off the field, he said, I want you to do something. I said, what? He said, take your shades off and look. He said, because last time we were here, you didn't look. And it was the Indian River game. I didn't look into the stands, and everybody told me how phenomenal it was. So he said, I want you to look. And I shed a tear at that moment in time as well, because that is what our school is all about. It's a village, it's a community, and without it, our kids don't progress in the nature that they're progressing right now and becoming the school that we need to become and that we're going to become.
We're thrilled to be a part of it.
Thank
Congratulations.
you very much, Gary. Gary,
All right.
appreciate you.
I'm telling you, 4 or 5 months from now,
Yeah.
let's cut this tape on and let's watch it together.
All right, that's
I
what
want to
we'll
learn
do.
a little
I
bit about
will.
their program.
All right, I will. Not a
Loren
problem.
Johnson, Highland Springs, the state champs.
Thank you.